Chairman, thank you so much. I come from the private sector, so when I come to the House and I listen to the debate going back and forth, I almost feel like I'm somebody not from a different planet, but from a different galaxy. When we talk about overregulation, when we talk about the effects of unelected bureaucrats leveling on the American people $2 trillion and an impact to the economy, then somebody ought to sit up and listen. All we're talking about is scrutiny. Scrutiny of any piece of legislation, any executive order that comes out that's going to have an impact of $100 million or more on the economy. Now, around here, $100 million sounds like nothing. Where I'm from, it is unbelievable that we would even think that $100 million should be the point that we look at. What could be more common sense than to look at the heavy burden we're putting on everyday Americans in saying that somehow unelected bureaucrats who've never walked in their shoes, who've never done their job, who've never had to worry about meeting a payroll, who've never had to worry about regulations and taxations that make it impossible for them to compete, and say those poor, stupid folks just don't get it. 705,687 people in your districts are who you represent. Whether they voted for you or not is not the point. The point is we represent them. Why in the world would Congress cede its power to the executive branch and to unelected bureaucrats to determine what the American people are going to be burdened with? It is just common sense. Why can we not see what is right in front of us right now? I invite you to please go home to your districts, walk in those shops, walk in those little towns, talk to those people and find out the two things that really inhibit them from being successful are overtaxation and overregulation. We can handle both those things right here in the people's house. This is not a Democrat house. This is not a Republican house. This is America's house. We should be looking at things that benefit the American people. If we truly want to act in a bipartisan way, then let's stop this back and forth debate about what Republicans want, what Democrats want, and let's talk about what's good for the American people. That's who sent us. That's who the responsibility is that we have on our shoulders. If we can't do that, we ought to go home. I thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman from